when I see the dollar give ground and I see an ISM that was one of the lowest prints we've had in anybody's lifetime at any time. And so, forget 2 bad months during COVID, which were extreme. We're back to 2009 levels. It tells me that people aren't that worried about inflation. And in fact, if I look at the bond market and I look at the 10-year and the 2-year, we're near kind of those lows. I mean, we're not that far off of even some of those extreme lows. And meanwhile, equities, I don't know if I'm whistling past the graveyard, but 8% move off of those March 13 lows to the intraday high today. So it tells you that people are not worried about a more aggressive Fed. And if anything, again, I think the dollar represents central bank differentials. People right now are pricing in much less Fed than they might even be pricing in ECB. So I don't think there's a lot to this oil move, but I don't think this is something that signals more inflation ahead.
The politics of it, meaning they want to snub their noses at the West. They want to, what is this? Because if it's not going to impact inflation, then what is a political sort of fallout here if it's not going to impact what the Fed?
Well, the politics of this is
as consumers.
The politics of that Saudi and Russia are 1 million of the 1.6 million. Right. And you could make an argument what's going on there. And in fact, if you think that Russia's trying to do everything they can to get product to the market, and they're doing different ways to do it, they're not going to do it through the headline. They're going to do it through product,
sure.
And product has gotten very expensive.
Yeah.
And it's more money for them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's that, too.
The war in Ukraine, of course.
Yeah. And for Saudi Arabia as well.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back, by the way.
Yes.
I forgot to. Sorry.
I know.
It's good to be.
Please, can you welcome her back?
Very great. Very great to have you here. I agree with Tim. I thought that data was really more important. It sort of trumped this oil data. I think that it's pretty deflationary on its own, but if you think about that's March data, it doesn't even really capture what could be happening now as a result of the bank situation.
Tighter
right?
credit, et cetera.
Tighter credit, all of that. And so it sort of makes you think, all right, well, this inflation thing is really starting to turn over. Therefore, the Fed will be done sooner or perhaps even turn around.
Yeah. So happy days are here again, Guy. Everything's coming up roses.
Hi, Mel.
Hi, Guy.
Missed you. That's true. Everything's coming. Absolutely. Everything's coming up roses. I mean, the worst ISM in a generation. What could possibly go wrong? And Tim is right to flag that. And it was a tragedy of a number, but it speaks to that lag effect that we've talked in. It's starting to kick in now in terms of Fed rate hikes and all that liquidity finally making its way through the system. And yeah, maybe the inflation battle is over in terms of hikes, but it doesn't mean the effects of what the Federal Reserve has done isn't going to continue to be felt. And, that might be great on the surface because the Fed's out of the picture, but things are slowing down precipitously. So earnings, by definition, should slow down. I think the market is hoping for a Fed to backtrack, potentially cut in the back half of this year, which, by the way, is coming up faster than any of us realize. But on the flip side, the inflationary inputs, and we're going to talk about oil with Paul Sankey. I mean, gasoline prices are slowly back on the rise, and they're inflation in all the wrong places, to quote that song by, what was that cat's name, Garth Brooks or somebody like that, who's a fan of the show, by the way.
I'm sure he's watching right now, in fact. Hello, Garth. Welcome. But with all this said, Jeff, it sounds like from what all of you are saying in terms of the picture of the economy and the slowdown that is, in the midst of happening is still yet to come in terms of the full effect, that we could actually see oil prices stay the same, maybe even come off a little bit despite this cut.
Yeah, I think at the very least, oil prices are probably stable here. We were talking about energy a little bit on Friday, and I alluded to that. And now I think that even underscores that point. So say you get stable oil prices from here. We've already seen EPS rise lower for a lot of the energy names. Most of that was due to lower oil prices. I think a lot of the forecasts you're seeing, not that Goldman Sachs is the end-all be-all, but they're looking at potentially $95 a barrel here. So let's say we end up right around where we are today. Energy is the cheapest sector on an absolute, on a relative basis. I think that's a pretty good setup here for a sector that's seen really flat valuations for the year when the rest of the market has moved precipitously higher on a PE basis. So I would not be abandoning the sector, even if we were to assume that the economic picture isn't that great. So maybe oil prices stay where they are. There's kind of a net effect here. But if you look at a lot of names, I talked about EOG on Friday, holding above that 120 level. That's important. We're right there now. ExxonMobil, Schlumberger, testing those 200-day moving averages, holding nicely. I just think this provides more momentum